When did you discover these abilities? What is that process of discovery like, from I have a sense to, oh, this is a skill? And what does that journey look like through, when did you discover it? And then how do you turn a discovery into a distinct ability, which is what it is today?
I love that you're making the distinction between discovering something and then really honoring it and working to create it into a skill that can help others, right? So I think I was psychic since being a child. I would see people in colors. I would very quickly understand if somebody had this kind of blue aura to them that day. I could get along with them. It'd be great. If they had red, frazzly energy, I'd avoid them. I would feel what other people were feeling. That's called being an empath. But it never occurred to me that other people didn't experience that too. I thought that's how that life worked that way. That's how the world worked. But about age 11, I realized there was something, what I'd label as wrong with me or very different about me, and I wasn't happy about it. When I was 11 years old, I remember it was a hot August day. I was swimming in my swimming pool, and my mother called out to tell me she was going to go visit my grandparents. They lived about an hour away, and we'd see them, every other weekend. And I was seized by this absolute moment of, it felt like panic and knowing at the same time that I needed to go be there with my grandfather that day. I'm soaking wet in the swimming pool, and I'm like, Mom, you have to wait for me. And she's like, Laura, are you kidding me? It's like school starts in a week. This is your last dog days of summer. You're in the swimming pool, really? And I was like, I need to come with you. My brother and sister were in the pool too. They didn't get that psychic download, so they stayed and swam. Quickly changed, went to my grandparents' house, and I had the most magnificent day with my grandfather. It was just the two of us. We were laughing and joking, and he was such a beautiful force of love in my childhood, such an important person in my soul. And when it was time to leave, I remember hugging him and saying goodbye and that I loved him. And that was the last time I ever saw him alive. 3 days later, he was diagnosed with advanced leukemia, was sent straight to the hospital, and he died within 2 weeks. And in those days, unless you were 16 years old, you couldn't go visit someone in the hospital. So none of us got to go see him. And I remember being really haunted by that knowing, because what I quickly realized is what I had felt in the pool that day, that download of absolute knowing, was that I knew I needed to go be with him, and that I knew on some very deep spiritual level that this was my last time seeing him and that he was going to cross. And so I remember, pretty quickly confessing to my mother and saying to her, Mom, I think there's something really wrong with me.